Hey guys, when you're starting out on your calisthenics journey, you do not need any equipment. But later on, as you are progressing, as you are advancing, it is going to be very beneficial for you to get some appropriate equipment to help you along your journey. So, starting off, when you're training calisthenics, remember that calisthenics training is a bodyweight training, so it's essentially a free sport. It's a free activity, right? Which you can do at home, you can do in the park, you can do anywhere because you always have your body, right? So in the very beginning, what I actually tell my students is that the most important thing before they start accumulating all these equipments, the most important thing is actually to build the habit of training, because what tends to happen is that when people start something new, when people start training calisthenics, they want to accumulate as much equipment as they can. They want to accumulate as much clothes as they can, as much training gear, as much of all these things, right? Which they believe will help them along their journey. Yes, some of those things will help them along the journey, but they are not necessary. In the very beginning, just train consistently, build the habits, and for example, let's say you get to the point where you're training 3 times a week and you're doing that consistently, let's say 2-3 times a week, and you're doing that consistently for 1, 2, 3, whatever months, right? Now you can start looking into investing more into your training, right? By getting equipment that's going to help you along your journey. So this is going to be actually if you want to train, for example, at home, right? Because if you choose to train like in a calisthenics park, a lot of the equipment is going to be there for you, right? Your high pull-up bar, your parallel bars, and all this kind of stuff, right? And then if you're training in a gym, yeah, most likely they will have the equipment you need. Some gyms not, because some gyms now are really focusing on like machines. But overall, there will be things in there for you that you can train calisthenics with, right? So when you are at that stage, the things you actually want that are going to help you is going to be a high pull-up bar and rings for home. Rings, you can also use those outside as well, right? Just finding a tree and everything. But otherwise, you can use them at home on your high pull-up bar. And now this is going to help you to get a complementary training session where you can target, pulling, pushing movements and core movements as well, right? And then now another thing that I actually use quite a lot at home is going to be bands. And I have like all the bands you can possibly get, not all, but pretty close to it. So you have your loop bands. So these are the big bands that are looped, and then you can use these for like, for example, for pull-ups, where you advance to doing band pull-ups. You start with a heavy band and then eventually working your way down to a light band, and then eventually being able to do pull-ups without using this band, right? And then another one is a handle band, where it's a long band and then you have 2 handles on either ends. And now this, you can actually work on muscle activation exercises. So pulling motions like seated rows or overhead lat pull downs. And this will help you to get more activation of the back, which is going to help you for doing pull-ups later on, right? And then one of my favorite bands is going to be mini bands, so also looped but smaller. And these will help you to do really important essential exercises, such as exercises working on the rotator cuffs, the external rotator cuffs, because these are very important for shoulder stabilization and helping you on your calisthenics journey, right? And then another thing I try to use, and I do use frequently, is a foam roller and foam ball. So this helps to relax the muscles because you roll on it and you work on the superficial and then eventually the deep muscle fibers. And this helps to relieve tension around the body. The body gets quite tense from day-to-day activities and also from training calisthenics. So you need to find ways to relax it. So either you do massages every single day, which is going to be expensive, or you do use a foam roller or a foam ball to do a similar thing, right? All right. So to summarize, at the very beginning of your journey, you do not need any equipment to get started. Get started, build the habit of training calisthenics consistently, and then when you have that habit, now you can look at different equipments to advance your training, right? So a high pull-up bar, rings, mini bands, and
a foam roller, and a foam ball. There is other equipments as well, but I just gave you a list of equipments that I use consistently throughout all these years, and the equipments that I also advise my students as well. All right, guys, if you found this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel so this channel can grow and I can continue helping you guys along your journey. All right, see you on the next video.